Do you feel lazy and unmotivated all the time, even though you want to do the things so badly, but nothing seems to move the needle forward? Hello, and my name is Rachel, and welcome to Awaken Your More. I help highly sensitive, high achieving women to step into lives of peace, power, and purpose so they can finally start living a life that feels. And in today's episode, we are going to be discussing why highly sensitive people burn out more frequently than non highly sensitive people. And I think this is something that I have gone through various periods of my life and do seem to circle a lot. um, and I think really comes down to a few factors. And I want you to first remember to be kind and compassionate to yourself, because you're one of the 15 to 20% of the population that operate in a slightly different way. And that's due to the fact that our brains are actually built in a slightly different way to other people's. So there's already like this kind of difference of a level of playing field. And I don't want you to create that as your ceiling as a highly sensitive person, but I want you to remember that whenever you feel like shame for being burnt out, or feel shame for feeling tired, or feel shame for not being able to do those things. And I think it's really important to honor the capacity in which you are at that moment, but know that that is not the limit to what you can achieve. So, as a highly sensitive person, many other sensitive people really do need to understand that the environment that they are in contributes so much to the ability that they have to function. And I mean, there's various degrees on this scale, but when we are highly sensitive, we're operating from what's called sensory processing sensitivity. So we won't be naturally able to thrive as much in chaotic environments for as long. That means that perhaps we don't like loud environments or busy office spaces. And that's not to say we can't do those things, but it's really about how we deal with the everyday realities of that and the things that we can use in order to help prevent these constant burnout cycles. And I mention this because I'm somebody who has gone through constant burnout cycles in my life of trying to catch up and also navigate the world as somebody who is not highly sensitive. It makes you feel very inadequate and less than, which you are not. Now, burnout can often mirror depression, and there can often be an overlap, such as burnout can lead to depression. So if you've been dealing with this for a really long time and you're not feeling better, or you've not taken any steps to do that, please do get some medical advice, because it's really important to get that checked out. I want to talk today about some key signs of highly sensitive person burnout. So for me, burnout has, as just mentioned, been something that I've kind of gone through several occasions in my life. And when I was living in a really busy city, as a teacher, which is a really highly demanding job, if you're highly sensitive, it can be a really rewarding job. But being in that constant stimulation of managing people, managing children, and picking up on those emotions is a tough one. So when I was doing this and I was living in a chaotic environment, my system was overstimulated. And I was also getting overstimulated in work, and also not doing something that I felt particularly was very creative or purpose driven at the time. And I talk about this more in one of my other videos as well, where highly sensitive people need to feel a sense of purpose to what they are working towards and what they are doing. If not, it can be really hard to stay motivated, as we have a deep internal drive and compass that kind of guides us. So that's why you'll often find people who are highly sensitive being things like therapists or teachers or coaches, or people in healing spaces, or perhaps quieter industries such as artists, because we naturally thrive in creativity, quiet, and space. And that's not all highly sensitive people. There's definitely room for you to kind of explore your ranges of sensitivity. We are not putting ourselves in a box and just staying there. We are embracing our full spectrum of who we are. And what I was saying is I was really chronically burnt out, and this can amalgamate in things like stomach issues, being unwell, not having any drive, feeling negative, not enjoying the things that you used to enjoy. So the first one is procrastination. And this is not really like procrastination in terms of like, oh, I just put off a task. It's kind of that constant like procrastination to do the things that you know will help you. It's the procrastination to do the bare minimum things that might help you, such as making yourself feel nice, getting changed, because your brain just simply cannot face doing another task. And highly sensitive people become more burnt out more easily because, as I just mentioned, we have sensory processing sensitivity. So whereas somebody who doesn't have that will be operating and will be absorbing some of the outside stimuli, they won't be absorbing as much as we will. So it's kind of like that's turbocharged for us, which can be extremely exhausting. It's worth remembering that. So always offering yourself compassion for being highly sensitive rather than kind of victimizing and also being overly critical, which can also be something if you're also a high achiever. We can feel like we need to push through, sort of like push and create this kind of like toughen up mentality, or if they can do it, I can do it. And this is something you really can't push through, because the more you push through burnout, the more burnout you become. It really does take a while to navigate it. It's about slowing down. It's about finding joy in those small moments and not making that overwhelmingly long list, which can be really, really inviting to do if you're somebody like me and likes to get things done. And then you feel that you've only done one thing on the list. It can be really disheartening. Another key indicator of highly sensitive person burnout is feeling uninvolved in tasks that used to bring you joy. So we might know that doing a yoga practice is really helpful for us, but why does going to the yoga mat feel so overwhelming? And that is because you are burnt out. You don't have the energy to do even the smallest things that you enjoy. And again, this is more likely to hit you if you're highly sensitive, because you've probably been juggling a lot for a long time, potentially masking your sensitivity, masking who you are in a way to appease others. Number 3 is that we need lots of downtime after we have done something. So this could be going for a social occasion, going to a party. We'll feel like we really have to kind of be on our topmost sort of social behavior for this. And as alongside this, we'll often be picking up on social cues, reading the room, looking at body language, kind of wondering what everyone else is thinking, or at least kind of putting together what we can think they feel from their faces. I know if you're anything like me, I do this constantly, and it's really, really exhausting. And it leaves you with little emotional room for yourself. So you often feel like after these things, you just don't want to socialize for a few days. And this can actually become more chronic than this. And for me, this was definitely something that happened when I was living abroad, where I would just not want to go out, not want to socialize. I just want to lay down and be really quiet and chilled. And I think there's a difference between like healthy rehabilitation from socializing and then also just completely withdrawing and not wanting to speak to anybody. And that can often be when highly sensitive people go into freeze and this shutdown response as a way of coping. My 4th way you can see if you're burnt out as a highly sensitive person is if you are really just chronically numbing and not doing the behaviors that you know would help you, not doing the things, and instead relying on numbing behaviors such as scrolling online, going on your phone, just to get that quick kind of hit of dopamine to get you going. And I guess this is true for anybody who's navigating severe burnout, but this is a kind of way that you can kind of cope in the moment with what is going on. And there's also a difference between when we feel flat and when we feel sad. And when we're feeling flat, we often feel like we don't have any energy, we're not engaged with the task we used to, we don't get excited, we don't get sad, we don't get any range of emotions, everything's just the same. And when we're dealing with burnout, this is definitely the case. When we're dealing with burnout, we just don't have the energy to actually think about being excited or the energy to actually embody being excited within us. If you are somebody who is dealing with highly sensitive person burnout, I really encourage you to do holistic practices, and do those practices that will bring you the most stabilization of the nervous system. And this can be simply, for me, somatic shaking is really helpful. It brings me out of that kind of freeze, shutdown state of not wanting to do anything and into a really energetic, embodied state where I'm feeling more positive. Really do try to look at it as a way of assessing what has been working in your life and what is not working in your life, because you're just going to enter that burnout cycle again and again and again. If you're somebody who's a high achiever and highly sensitive, you're just going to get back on that hamster wheel and then burn out again. That might be like reassessing your career. So what? You reassess your career. That might be reassessing how you spend your time. That might be reassessing your social activities. So if you're interested, I do have some really beautiful tracks on Insight Timer that deal with nervous system regulation for highly sensitive people. So please do check that out. The link is around here on the page if you're interested. If you are somebody who feels that they need extra support navigating burnout, I do currently have some places in my one-to-one coaching at the moment. So you can always reach out and contact me. Please feel free to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I do post videos here every week, specifically for people who identify as highly sensitive and high achieving. I hope you enjoyed this. Namaste, Rachel.